my friend, and welcome back. My name is Hannah, and today I'm going to be playing with some new makeup for you. And I have the new Colourpop Plush Like Me collection, and I haven't really seen any videos for this. I don't know if they even sent this out as PR to anybody. I feel like this collection was just released on the very low, and they've already released a few other things since releasing this collection. But I thought it was interesting. At first when I saw it, I didn't really think much of it, but I will get into that. I do have one of each item from the collection. I don't have the complete collection. As I did purchase this on my own, I didn't receive it as PR or anything like that. But I've also noticed that this collection is very similar to a lot of the other things that I've had my eye on or purchased myself. I did get the Retro palette by Natasha Denona, and I'm waiting for that to get to me in the mail. I purchased that first before I purchased this Colourpop order, and they might have just been like waiting on stuff to come in. I don't know why it's taking this long. It usually doesn't from Sephora, but I bought that palette because I already have been really enjoying the like 90s like supermodel kind of aesthetic. If you watched my Cindy Crawford video, I'll link it up above, but I really enjoyed the like look and tone of like the 90s model, and I was in the process of filming a few like casual cosplays for those kinds of looks. And then I saw that the Retro palette dropped, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. These are all the exact same color tones, and it's a newer palette, and it's Natasha Denona, so maybe a lot of people would be interested in that. But then this collection kind of just, I don't know, it just kind of came out, and it's kind of all the same thing. So I think I might do a comparison video by the time that palette gets to me, and let's just open up the items that I have. So I'll start first with the Shimmering Body Powder. This is the Soul Body brand, but it's this tiny, like I think it's just the, what are they called? Like the Super Shock shadows. But I really like this more like pinky tone. So I can't wait to play with that. That looks pretty good. And then what else do we have? I got two of the lip liners. There's a few different like typical 90s kind of shades, like the pinkier browns and the deeper browns and the mauve kind of tones. And I was almost tempted to buy every single lip liner, but I just don't need it. So I bought the ones that I liked. And this one is Good and Plenty, and I think this one is more of like a rosy pink tone, I think. And then I think I got this one Over the Liner, and I think this one is more of like a brownie tone, or maybe I have them reversed. I think this one is more of the brownie tone, so I'll swatch them on the back of my hand. These just looked like the kind of tones that I would mostly use all the time. I didn't just want to buy things to buy things. So as you can see here, this one is like the brownie one, and then this one is the Over the Liner. Is that what it's called? No, this one's called Good and Plenty, and this one's more of like just like that rosy kind of pink. It's like a pink with like a brown tint to it, and like that's just kind of all the trend of like lips in the 90s. It was like the browner lip liner and like the more rose tone, nudie tone kind of lip. So that's pretty exciting. And then I got a lipstick. I think this one is in the shade Band Tea, and I think this one is more of like a mauve tone, so I don't quite have this kind of like shade in my collection. It's very similar to my Charlotte Tilbury like component in that it's just like this like rose gold kind of shade. Like it's very similar, almost exactly the same. But my Charlotte Tilbury is in the shade Supermodel, which is inspired by the 90s model look. And I think a lot of Charlotte Tilbury's kind of aesthetic is of those like 90s looks. But I wanted something that was not quite the same. So I'm just swatching it on the back of my hand. And you can see it's just more of like that kind of brown tone. But they had other shades in the collection, but I mean, I already have my Charlotte Tilbury lipstick, and I already have the kind of brownie and nudie shades that I would like. I don't think that they were anything new or different. I don't think you need to have them all. If there's one shade that's really calling to you, because they all look very, very nice, but you don't need them all. And then this was the item that made me kind of just go ahead and buy the collection, which is really naughty. But it's the blush sticks, which I really enjoy. I really, really enjoy the new formula that they have for them. And I really love this component. Like, this feels a lot nicer than the like salmon, like the original ones that were kind of like rounder and softer. This feels like a nice, heavy, sturdy component. And I believe this is in the shade Winona Forever, and it's obviously after Winona Ryder, who was like my 90s icon. When I started doing makeup, it was just to kind of mimic what Winona's makeup was. So this one I think is more of like a nudie tone, I think, or like a brownie tone. So we'll see how well this works for me as a blush. But that's it right there. It's almost a little bit darker than the lipstick, but kind of similar. And so then the last thing is the palette. And I almost didn't buy the palette because I almost didn't really think much of it. I was just like, oh, I kind of already have the nudie shades that I like. But I don't know if it was in my declutter video. Like, I have that Lime Crime like nude palette, and like it's the exposed nude palette with the brown tones, but I never reach for that, and I'm not really happy with that formula. And I really enjoyed the So Very Lovely palette, and I kind of pull for that one a lot when I'm doing my makeup outside of YouTube. So this one is really nice. I really like the crushed velvet and the gold. Like, I don't know, this doesn't like necessarily remind me of the 90s and like the kind of like imagery that they're going for, but it's nice. Like, I don't know, it's different, and I like this maroon coloring. Like, this is just, it's very nice. So it has the shades on the back, and it says I don't think there's any pressed glitters, which is really nice, except for maybe one. There's like a deeper shade. There's even a shade called Depp, which Winona and Johnny Depp were dating in the 90s, so that's kind of fun. TLC, Runaway, Girl Band, Knee Highs, Flannels. I think this is just supposed to be like an homage to the 90s kind of thing. So let's open the palette. From the side, it looks like it almost like tri-folds like a letter into itself, but I think it just opens right up. And it does have a mirror on the inside, but it's really nice. Like, it's a nice big mirror. And the palette itself has like this gold background. But as you can see, these just look like all of the typical like 90s kind of shades. I will insert like a B-roll of the swatches here because I don't want to swatch them before I use them. But these look really nice. When I first looked at this, I thought it was like similar to my So Very Lovely palette in that it has like the same kind of deeper plum shades right here. Oh, it's magnetic because they're sticking to each other. Okay, so as you can see, like, it has the same kind of like plummy and like kind of pink glittery shade. So we'll see how that turns out. But the pans are definitely larger. I think it's the same number of shades, but for my So Very Lovely palette, they're smaller pans, and these ones are definitely larger. So that's interesting. What else? This TLC shade looks kind of cool. Like, it looks almost green, but we'll see what color it becomes. So let me zoom you guys in so then we can start our look. Okay, now that we're zoomed in, I want to start, I did all of my like base off of camera because obviously I don't have like a foundation, eyebrows, that kind of stuff. Anything that I'm using I do have in the links down below. So let's go ahead and start with the blush since I have mostly everything else on. And how do I want to apply this? I'll use this brush. I like to go in with these more like denser kind of brushes for cream products. I don't really put like the blush on my face directly, only because I don't know, I have foundation and like things on there and I don't want to compromise the product in the tube. But I know that I'm brush to face back in the product. I don't know, I just feel like it's easier to blend the product onto my face when I apply it with a brush versus placing down the item and then blending that part out. But I already really love this shade, especially in the winter time when I like to do my like deeper kind of blush tones. This is like the kind of shade that I'm looking for. Did I go on a little too heavy? Maybe. Do I look like a sickly Victorian child? And then with cream products too, if you do go in a little bit heavy or need to blend it out a little bit more, you can just tap it out with a sponge. There, I think that looks pretty good. And then let's go in with the highlighter. I know that it says that it's a body shimmer, but I couldn't imagine putting that on my body. I don't know. I don't like to have makeup on my clothes. Even like at the end of the day, if I have to remove my clothes, like I try not to get it on my face because nothing bothers me more than like, I feel like it's hard to wash makeup out of clothes. Okay. And then I'm gonna go in with this, like, this is my favorite kind of highlighter brush. It's the Nabla one. And it's just like this denser, kind of fluffier end brush. But instead of going in like this way, I always go flat and rub it and like tap it in place. It looks pink in the pan, but we'll see what color it actually is. It might be similar to my Hades palette. Because my Hades highlighter does have that like pink undertone in it. And then I don't really, because I have bangs now, I don't really put too much product on my forehead because I don't want my hair to get gross and then my skin gets oily. Okay, so I'll do lips last because it's always hard to like talk and have product on my lips. So let's go in to the eyes, and let's see. What shade do I want to go in with first? I'll go in with the shade Flannel, and I'll pop it into the corner of my eye. It looks a lot deeper in the pan than what it's actually coming out as. But there's other deeper shades in here, so you can deepen it if you would like. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this Naked brush and soften that out. Shade I'm going to use. I'll go in with this shade Girl. Should I use a different brush? I'll go into this shade Girl Band just to deepen this corner. Oh, that's so pretty. These brown tones like really remind me of the 90s looks that I would see with like those really deep chocolate browns. Okay, and then I'm going to take, do I have a fluffier brush? Yes. I'm going to go back in with that flannel shade, or I'm going to take the shade Velour. It's like a softer, lighter shade, and I'm just gonna soften that out a little bit. And bring it to the inner corner of my eye. I'm gonna take this shade TLC, but I'm going to spray it. I don't know, I'm very curious about it because it does look green in the pan, but I don't think even in the swatches online that it was green. So we'll see. And I'm just gonna take that over the lid. Oh, it is like this pretty bronzy kind of shade. Oh, that is so cute. And then I'm gonna go in with this like white shade. The shade Runaway, it's definitely a lot more crumbly than the other ones. But it's the best white matte, or like off-white matte. And maybe I did that a little out of order because I have to take a shade underneath. But, let's go in with the shade Depth. This is more like a greeny brown. But I think it would complement that more like bronzy tone on my lid. That's really cute. Okay. That's cute. I'm gonna do my eyelashes and, I'm gonna put on mascara and put on my lashes off camera because I feel like that takes me forever. I will be right back and then we'll get into the lips. So my lashes are sort of on. Let's not talk about it. Let's do the lips. I'm gonna go in with shade Good and Plenty because I think that that is the shade closest to the lip that I'm going to be using. I already really like this. Like it would complement that Charlotte Tilbury lipstick that I have, but like it's my like lip tone, but I think like a shade darker. Like I almost don't really notice it. It just makes my lips look a little bit plumper. Wow. Okay. And then let's go in with the lipstick. And again, this is shade Band T. And I don't know if this is more of like a matte shade. It doesn't really look matte from the swatch on my hand. It feels really slippy, almost like the almost like that Sharing Sea lip tint that I like from Uoma Beauty, where this feels cooling and this is obviously like a liquid form. This feels like the solid version of that. Like, it doesn't have the cooling sensation, but it doesn't feel heavy. It feels very, very light. Okay, I'm going to fix my hair and then zoom us out. Okay, so this is the final look. I look like such a lady from the 90s. Where do I start? I'll start with the blush. I really like this blush. The older formulas felt like sticky, almost like my hair would stick to them, but this set really quickly, and even touching it now, it's not sticky. It's like the perfect cream to powder. Kind of what I wanted those lime crime cream to powder little compacts to be. So I don't know, I think there has to be other shades in this collection, and I might just pick them up because I really, really enjoy this. This is like my favorite blush right now, I think. And I like the highlight. I think the highlight is really nice. I think it's very similar to the So Very Lovely Super Shock highlighter that I purchased and the Hades. But that being said, both the Hades and the Super Shock from the So Very Lovely palette, they're both discontinued and unavailable. So if you had your eyes on those, I would pick up this one right now. Like, go and get it, because I don't know. No one is talking about this collection, so I don't want it to just like disappear. The lip products I really like. I don't feel them on my lips. They're very comfortable. The shades are very flattering. Like, it's exactly what is described and pictured on the website. So I like that. I know in my cheek palette videos, I compared the swatches online to the swatches or to the actual product when I received it, and this doesn't really quite have that problem as far as like the lip and the cheek products go. I think they're very much what you're seeing is what you're getting. What else? The lip liners aren't any new formulas. They're the same standard Colourpop lip liners, so if you already love them and they're a shade that you're looking for, I would pick them up. Otherwise, let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. I really, really like this. I'm excited for my retro palette to come in, but that looks more of like a gray, pink, cool toned kind of palette. This seems more of like the really grungy kind of like 90s look. Like, I can still do the same kind of like 90s model looks that I wanted to do, but I can also do like Winona Ryder looks or like Viper Room looks. This is really, really exciting. I think this is a very, very good palette, and I don't know, like no one is talking about it. Obviously, if you're someone that likes the more rainbow palettes and bright colorful looks, this wouldn't be the palette for you. But if you're a neutral lover, like, this is it. Or if you just really like vampy, dark, dramatic eye looks, this is it. Like, I could almost pair this with some of my like duochromes from my Kaleidos palettes, and that would be such a fun, that would be really good. The eyeshadows themselves were really easy to play with, and they blended really well. Usually for these videos, I get kind of like hesitant to film them because I like to kind of practice my looks before I do them on camera, just because that's where my makeup skill is at. But I just dove right into this palette, didn't even think twice about it. And I don't think this is a bad look. I mean, maybe it's not perfect, but I don't think it's bad. And I layered a few different shades on top of each other and a shimmer. And usually for me, if I go in lightly with my brushes and try to build up the shade versus going in and like really heavy, because like I said, that's just like not where my makeup skill is at. It's easier for me to build up. So I like eyeshadows that are buildable, that are blendable, and it seems like all of them play really well together. So I think this is like the perfect like autumn fall kind of palette, but like I think this just might be like my favorite neutral palette so far. it's a really good one. Like, I'm pretty happy. So I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts and opinions are on this palette, or thoughts and opinions are on this collection. Have you watched the new like Vice docu-series on like the 90s? I've been watching that too, and I don't know if I'm just like on trend right now with these 90 looks, or like if this is just like my moment to shine and I manifested all of these things, because I feel like a lot of the things that I really love for as long as I can remember are kind of coming back into trend, and I'm like, oh, this is it, this is my moment. So let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.